Hello, Kira Love here. Welcome back to Love Lessons. I want to continue the conversation, part two of Are You the Problem? Because I've been having some incredible discussions in my inbox, mostly positive, and there's a couple of things that I just want to clear up so that we are all on the same page. So, the discussion of Are You the Problem was simply to bring to light that you always have a choice, no matter what relationship dynamic you find yourself in. And what I find to be true is when we are finding ourselves, when we are finding our voice and what it is that are our values, and when we're gaining clarity through our experiences of what we don't want, we're often finding more and more out about what we do want. But it can be tempting to sell ourselves the lie that we don't have a choice. This is a very disempowering perspective to orientate from and to make choices from in a relationship. You always have a choice. And standing in this extreme ownership, no matter how brutal it feels, no matter how much transparency and self-awareness and ownership you have to take from this perspective, I promise you, this is what is going to lead you to create the relationship that you do want: extreme ownership. Now, the ideal circumstance is, of course, to find yourself in a relationship where you share the value of usness, where you're working as a team to compromise, to have compassion, to bring out the best in your partner, to truly respect the need to understand what it is that your partner needs to thrive, where you're actively participating to bring out the best in each other. Now, if you find yourself in a dynamic where this doesn't feel true for you, it's empowering to know that you always have choice. Now, when we're operating from a place where we think we don't have choice, this is where we can fall into the trap of behaviors like excessive nagging when you feel confronted or frustrated with behaviors that your partner are choosing, or habits, or things that they love to do and they feel misaligned with your values. But the truth of the matter is, if you are choosing to be there and that person is clearly communicating with you that that is their standard, that is what they desire, then the nagging is only going to contribute to more disconnection and more resentment. And if you are choosing to stay, understanding that that is your choice can actually help dissolve a lot of that frustration, because then we get to choose, is this something I can be flexible on? Or is this something that is absolutely a conflict of my values and I need to hold my standards and boundaries here and either call my partner forward, or I get to choose to leave if it's not aligned. Now, I want to be explicit again and again. I'm not telling you that one is right for you and the other. This is something that you use your own intuition on, right? I trust that you have the answers inside of you. I trust that you can lead yourself powerfully from this position of extreme ownership. And I also trust that when you operate from your personal power, you are going to lead yourself to a more fulfilling connection. And often that will actually transpire in the relationship that you are already in. We get to choose what behaviors we're going to be available for. And whilst we're available for certain behaviors, those behaviors will continue. So the other thing I want to share is that I believe that it is absolutely our responsibility to do everything in our personal power to make our marriage work. There is a lot of lifelong consequences to the family unit disintegrating. So I am not an advocate of, well, this is not happening for me, so I'm out of here. I do think that we need to play 100% playful out. I also think that when we find ourselves in a situation where there's a lot of growing resentment, or our partner is choosing habits that we feel are contributing to the demise in our connection, I do feel that there are some really important high quality questions we need to be asking before we make the decision to leave. I think that in a relationship that is healthy, in the sense that there's no physical or verbal abuse, then your partner absolutely is worthy of the compassion for you to ask the questions like, is this a new behavior? And what has shifted in my partner's world that has shifted him to start choosing these unhealthy habits? Why is my partner choosing to manufacture a feeling of success by checking out in these behaviors? Where is he not feeling success in his real life that is leading him to choose to check out in these ways? So, examples: excessive gaming. Now, gaming is not wrong. When I say gaming, I mean excessively gaming well into the night, where the priorities of family life and the priorities of having a healthy relationship are now being compromised, and this is overriding. Where is he not feeling successful in the real world that is leading him to those behaviors? Have you contributed to him wanting to lean out of the relationship? Have your behaviors contributed? We always have ownership to what is playing out for us in our relationships. And it's really important that you ask yourself those questions and you always put up a mirror to your behaviors first, because I believe as women, we are so powerful at inspiring the best from men when we show up in our best, beautiful, feminine radiance. So, have you tried to influence a different behavior through your own energy, through you living in your light? Now, hint, nagging is not going to work there. Nagging is actually going to increase the problem and the disconnection. The other thing that I would just insert a little tip here is understanding the stages of a man. And there's some incredible work by a gorgeous woman. Her name is Alison Armstrong. If you are feeling challenged in a relationship where you can't seem to get your partner to show up and play their 100%, then definitely go and check out her work. She really speaks into the different life cycles of a man and what happens when he enters the tunnel, which is likely when he starts leaning out and checking out of the relationship, and what you can do as a woman to ensure that this beautiful, incredible human makes it through the other side, and that your relationship stays intact through that process. So there's a lot of things that are in your personal power where you can influence this dynamic. Now, if you are in the dating game, this is different to you're already in a long-term relationship. When you are in the dating world, and especially, well, not even especially, no matter what age you are, no matter what season of life you're in, but if you have children, you have even more responsibility to make a really good selection, right? Because it's going to impact more than just you if you make the wrong selection. Now, I gave 3 very quick examples of what were deal breakers for me: porn, gaming, smoking. Now, again, these are not behaviors that are wrong or right. They're just not a fit for my values and my passions in life. I'm a health coach. I personally cannot tolerate smoke personally. If someone wants to smoke, I'm okay with that. I just don't want to be around it. Gaming, there's always, it's what are you flexible on? You need flexibility in a relationship, but what is a hard no for you? So I could be flexible on gaming if it was like occasionally with the boys and it was fun and whatever. I'm okay with that. If you're kicking ass and kicking goals and fulfilling your responsibilities as a man and you're operating in integrity and you're a man that I can respect, then absolutely. But also, I know myself so well. I want to be adventuring on the weekend. I want to be fishing. I want to be camping. I want to be exploring the world. So it's not wrong or right. It's simply knowing who I am, and what is going to bring out the best in me is having a partner with shared values, a partner that wants to be out in the world exploring with me. That is a match for me. When it comes to pornography, again, I have specific relationship values that is just not aligned with what I believe is leaking sexual energy outside of the relationship. Now, when and the conversation that I held when I met my partner was not just these 3 things. I actually had, a 2-page vision statement that was just very clear on the next chapter I wanted to create. And when you are clear about your boundaries and standards, and holding standards is not operating in this belief of like, I'm a high value woman and this is how a man must treat me. Like, it's not an immature sense. It's just knowing who you are, knowing what you're available for and knowing what you're not available for, because you are always going to attract in what you are available for. And so when I had that conversation with my partner, it was actually a beautiful, deep, and meaningful conversation of, this is my vision for the future. This is what I bring to the table, like genuinely, honestly, from my heart. This is how I want to thrive. This is who I am in a relationship. This is what I have to give you. This is how I will honor you. And this is what I'm looking for. And I'm okay if that is not a match for you. I never want to be in the position where I cannot thrive, where I cannot be myself because I'm now accepting behaviors that bring out the worst in me because they are simply not a match for who I am as a woman. And it's okay for you to be who you are as a man. So let's just be honest with each other now, so we don't waste the next year or 2 years of our lives, because then the person that is a match is going to have to wait even longer for us to find each other, right? So it's in a really positive sense. It's not from this brutal sense of like, here's my standards. It's maturity, right? It's self-leadership. It's just standing in your personal power. And if you are in the dating game, this will change the experience that you have knowing what you're available for. So my energy commanded respect from men when I was in that chapter of my life. It clearly communicated, I am not available for Netflix and chill. I'm just not your woman for that. And if that's your jam, that is fine. But also, ladies, I'm going to call you forward here. The amount of complaints from women that is the only experience they are having, but you are contributing to the problem, because men will always elevate to the standard that we hold. And so therefore, women are actually contributing to this mess out there in the world, because they are making themselves available for it, because they do not know themselves and they are not standing in their worthiness. And so therefore, they are showing up and accepting this low quality behavior. Okay, so extreme ownership will always move you forward. And sometimes holding your power in the relationship that you are in, and I have experienced this in my lifetime, can actually call the relationship that you have forward. But here's the key. You cannot manipulate. You cannot lie to yourself. You cannot lie to your partner. Your partner knows if you're lying. You know if you're lying. The universe knows if you're lying. If you are genuinely not willing to leave, if the behavior that you no longer want to be available for doesn't stop, but you try to manipulate and dangle that carrot and say, I'm going to leave, I'm packing my bags, that is not going to work in your favor. When you come to a place where you know yourself deeply, you know what you can be flexible on, and therefore you're not going to nag about it. You know what just is so congruent for you, that in order for you to thrive, this is how I want to play in a relationship. This is what I'm bringing to the table. And I'm going to play from this energy first and then see if this relationship responds, see if it's a match. And if it's not a match, I know I cannot thrive here. Then that's the moment when you know the cost is greater to your sense of self, that you are slowly but surely losing yourself because you are not clearly defining who you are. That is when you know the cost is too great. So again, I'm not saying should you stay or should you go. And in fact, if you're working with a coach that gives you that answer, you are working with the wrong coach. It is always up to you to go within and to find that answer for yourself. The consequence of walking through life with someone or making a selection with a person who just does not share your priority values. Now, your partner will never share all of your values, but the ones that you just cannot be flexible on, know what they are, because it is an extremely heavy burden to walk through life with a partner who you are in constant conflict with over your values. But when you find a partner who aligns with those priority values, it will unlock a beautiful peace. It is light, it is fun, it is joy-filled, and just it is safe. And it's simply having the knowledge that your partner is playing full out with you. Your partner respects and values how their behavior influences how you feel. And it influences whether you can thrive or not in the relationship, which then influences their experience. It is always this two-way dynamic where your energy is always influencing one another. So how could you not invest your time and your energy and your consciousness into wanting to know how you can operate in a way that is going to bring out the best in your partner? And when you draw a line and you do the work on healing, and when you really get to know who you are, then you get to hold these standards and these boundaries in this elegant worthiness. It's elegance. It's not puffing up your chest and saying, I deserve this. It is not about deserving. It is about elegant worthiness, knowing what you are worthy of, understanding what you will and won't be available for. And I promise you that this will transform your relationship experience.